the speakers to be back to the podium, and we'll take about 10 minutes with a few questions that you can raise, because you won't get a better opportunity than this forum to interact with the speakers over here.
What are the difficulties they are facing in their organization in respect of performance pay? Difficulties. Structuring, I'm not asking. I'm asking what difficulty they face, if at all they have performance pay, which we just now talked about from the podium, 50-50%. The world is coming back to that.
Okay. Yes,
go ahead.
Well, in this, you are speaking of trident here, possibly when you are speaking of 30%, because well, it is really, one is that measuring, it has to be very transparent in terms of measurement, performance measurement is one criteria, really. Second is, after that the counseling becomes very, very important. Otherwise people, they have a tendency of to compare with others, and even 1%, 2% less than the others. Certainly, this becomes difficult to manage also. So counseling becomes very, very important. So personalized counseling, then not only that, and also it requires a change of mindset. That today, many people are opting for higher salary, but they are ready to contribute. Many people say, okay, we are happy with that. So both are good. So everybody, success is not a comparison with others. So I think there are some people who need higher salary. They are very keen. They are really keen to go to that case also. But there are some people today, and I think this is going to be the future trend, that employees are going to accept as per their own individual need also. So maybe sometimes this also is usually comparison, counseling, as well as measurement is very difficult. So these are the difficult.
I just like to make a statement. I was traveling from Sunday after attending the management convention. I was traveling with Mr. Kiran Kani. So I asked the question that, how did we go about it in Satyam case? He said we simply try to restore the trust. That's where I am coming to your point in Trident. The trust is one hidden variable, which is, if multiplied with a winning competitive strategy and sound organization, makes a huge difference. It can work both ways, and negative side and the positive side. Probably in all HR, the topic is intervention. Trust remains a very significant intervention in all achievements. Thank you.
One more thing I would like to say, when this Trident, there were 56 crore in 93, 8 crore lost. They had a great vision of 1,000 crore by 2080. So everybody was merged into that. So maybe many times we have to challenge people, we have to involve them for a much larger target, much larger goal, so that people are not stuck in all many of these grievances. So that's also how we involve the people in the bigger challenge.
Right. Can I ask a question, please, sir? Behind the pillar. It's a generic question based on what will be discussed and what we will discuss today. It appears to me there's going to be a lot of unrest and work disturbances in the future, near future and distant future. What I want to know is, in the coming days, who will going to be responsible, HR or IR? This is a fairly old dichotomy in the function. I feel HR should expand its reach. We talked about trust. Are we working towards that? Because people's needs are going to rise. So who's going to take the responsibility? Who's going to assume the leadership role? The HR, IR, or the industry heads? Thank you.
The reason is that we are making a very clear-cut distinction between HR and IR. They are complementary to each other. And if you say IR, of course, the new nomenclature to IR is the employee relations. And it's a part of it. IR is, or employee relations is a very much integral part of HR. And as regards the conflict situation or the situation of conflict, what the gentleman was raising in the question, of course, the ownership has to be taken by the HR. And I strongly believe, and that has been our experience, that unless HR takes a lead in that, so this conflicting situation or whatever, the anticipation of the new thing which may arise, either in the sunshine or it's in the monsoon. One has to visualize, anticipate and develop the strategy. And this part of the entire framework of things happening or which may arise any adversity or difficulty, the ownership has to be with the HR.
I would agree substantially with RP. There is hardly any distinction between these two today. In fact, virtually if you look at the scale of things happening, kind of conflicts in the market, the mainstay of HR, which used to be IR also primarily, or primarily IR, is waning off. And that's primarily because of the relationship factor. HR has now understood that this constituency of conflict management, which was dominated and won by the trade unions or the other parties who mean IR than, that constituency belongs to you and you have to work for that. How can an alien-based constituency be yours? I think perhaps this question of ownership of resource that people source.
So how to retain this talent or this talent drain? I just want to say one thing. Retention is not a rocket science, right? It's a simple factor. How transparent you are in implementing the practices in the organization. Not teach HR, but not preach HR, but practice HR. And the best of the practices can only bring you to the top slot. And if you have that, people generally don't leave organization. People actually leave their bosses.
To add to what Hari says, even today there are organizations where people started their career as a trainee and they continue in the organization. The organization is also doing well, the person is doing well, and he is the CEO. And not one, many. You can recall the name, I don't know. Very well, even today they are. So that is one. And I don't know, retention should not be taken as a challenge. It's not really a challenge. I also take it as that yes, if there are talents who are picked up, otherwise how will the organizations develop? The organization should be proud of that yes, the talents, they have talents who are demanded by others. And that will also leave some space for a fresh oxygen and fresh air. Third, of course, somebody was saying about the trust. If the organization has a transparent and a trustworthy policies, systems, process. Because any human being wants to work in a very healthy, enabling atmosphere. And if I have created an enabling atmosphere, so money or any material benefits will not be enough to attract a person who has a value.
To give you a little perspective, Sanjeev, if you want to get rid of exit interviews, ask people why they are staying with you. So you indulge in more stay interviews rather than exit interviews. I mean, once you give emphasis on stay interviews, stay factor, then exit factors will come down. It's a very converse relationship and automatic.
And I think one more dimension apart from stay interview is that we should be more careful in, sorry.
No, I only wanted to simply.
Okay, that we have to be careful in the interviews also. Sometimes we are just in the hurry to recruit the person without going deep into the motives of the person, his motivation level, what is his work-life balance. Really, that is what sometimes happens is we have started something additional information apart from many, many things. We have started really asking him thoroughly so that we can predict, we can understand more about the motive, about his work-life balance, what is going to be the future, let's say 3-4 years after that, what will be able to satisfy that also. I think that's also is one area apart from staying interview. This also. And third is that it is a long-term culture development which helps in. But my emphasis is more on the interview also. This is one area. Usually companies are in a hurry to recruit, and that's why there is a lot of turnover.
The point will lead of trust. And the first point is number one reason people leave is because of the relationship with the boss. It's a wonderful book, and that's what you said it very right.
Yes, ma'am.
I would. Here there are many strategies. Customize one focus where you have to look at product line and realignment of product, that's another. You can always beat the, and then there are strategies of backward and forward linkages. It's not really linked to employees' numbers that you are worried about at the time of retention. If you're talking of optimizing the cost, say 2% to 3% of manpower, how much you are going to save on that? How much? If you are talking of an efficient organization, to be even talking of the new economy, the bubble economy players, there the cost will be higher. Perhaps it may happen there. But I was talking more in the context of the asset-based and brick and mortar, where of course it's not a major thing that you think that you offload the horses in the latitude and then think that you are safe. No, it's not. It's not done. Perhaps it's a question of mindset. Perhaps it's a question of reaction to something happening in the knee-jerk or mature reaction. That depends on that.
Below exec research firm, but my experience till about 6 months ago was largely the ITS, BPO, KPO space. And my last assignment was actually with Satyam. I had already put in my papers a couple of months before the imbroglio happened. But I was there to see the transition at the time. And calling from a space where you were largely into services, not only IT space, but also in the space of financials, we have seen an unprecedented lot of retrenchment and exits and things like that. Now, HR people typically have been trained to attract, motivate, retain talent and not, let them go. And in your case, it's, your industries are booming, so you really have been well prepared to manage to keep the people. But in the industry I come from, this has been a very major stress area, especially for the HR heads. I'm not from HR, I'm from business, but I suspect a number of people in the audience would be HR managers, and many of them would be facing enormous stress in managing themselves. I think a lot of people actually, if you look at, actually end up with heart problems and other stress-related diseases. Is there something that the community of HR heads, people like yourselves, can do to help alleviate or build discussion forums where you can remove some of that stress and help people who are not used to managing in this new environment actually transition from becoming, retaining people and motivating to becoming more task and outcome focused?
Really, but I think it was a good observation, and maybe that I do not know. Of course, I have no exposure, direct exposure to the IT, but yes, some thinking I have, so I can make some reflections. Of course, it's a very unique, the IT industry and the GPO. It's something very unique and peculiar and different from the other services and the process industry like I am from. Very, very different. Yeah, the uniqueness is one to one extent is almost the employee cost itself in the IT industry is more than 49% and around 50%. Whereas in all other average employee cost of the other industries is about 7 to 10%. So the employee cost itself is a 49 to 50%. Of course, there is the exits in such situation, of course, is inevitable of the large firm. It's inevitable when they're 50%. The second aspect is that over dependence and the indulgence in a very large number of customers, and since there is no fixed asset, so immediate recession has immediate and very instant impact on the total business process. And recovery, the other factor is the recovery is also very slow. Very, very slow. Like in other industries, infrastructure, automobile, airline, hospitality, services, the recovery is not as slow and very slow in IT. Where I can only, not from the textbook or not from a scientific data,